Curro Holdings was established in 1998 as a middle-income private school in Durbanville near Cape Town. It has grown to 26 schools and is expanding fast. It recently concluded a significant rights issue and a number of acquisitions. Curro has a market cap of nearly 5.2 billion rand, trades on a PE of, wait for it, 256, but has not currently paid any dividends. 256 is the PE. Yanni Mouton, is he worth that much?
Well, the thing is, it's trading at 18 Rand. It traded as high as 22. But, you know, the history of the company is fairly new, as you said there. They've been doing lots of acquisitions of schools and lots of rights issues. The most recent one, this 21 shares per 100 at 12 Rand. So it's done lots of capital raising. 53% held by PSG, 10% by Michiel Leroux and all those kind of, Capitec and PSG kind of mates. So it's on a roll, it's doing well, and it's expanding into that sort of private education, but cheaper private education than the super elite private schools. So it seems like a big opportunity, but it's really still a company in development, you could say. Lots of news, lots of movement under the hood.
Well, as a parent with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, I can tell you that there's a dearth of education in Johannesburg and the rest of the country, and this could definitely be a sweet spot for any investor going forward. There's no way that this cannot but grow.
No, I think you're right, Ron. Just to give some sort of flavour to what you've just said, some context here, we have one of the worst education systems in the world, bar none. I mean, there were a number of studies that have been done. I'm talking about the government, the state education systems here. I think we're about a number 140 out of 143 countries. We come below Mozambique, for goodness sake. And when it comes to maths and science, we're even worse, 143 out of 144. The World Economic Forum recently did a study where we are the worst country in the world when it comes to maths and science. So, you know, we spend an awful lot of money on education. Don't get me wrong, as a proportion of the budget, it's huge. It's very badly misspent, so it's entirely dysfunctional. What I'm getting at is I think so many parents here, I think most of them would rather chew broken glass than send their kids to the state system. So therefore, they're going to do whatever they possibly can to go to something that is affordable. And I think Curro is, as you say, in that sweet spot.
They've also gone into training of teachers. This is a relatively new venture through Embury. Do you know any more about that
Not much.
venture?
The other initiative they've got is this big thing with Old Mutual, where they're creating these Meridian schools, which is exciting. But I expect them to do lots of things like that. So to buy existing schools or groups of schools started by school-based entrepreneurs, to do this teacher training thing, to get money from parastatal and other bodies. So I think across the board, people are realizing that, you know, after decades of trying, the state option isn't really getting any better. It's sort of stabilized, I suppose, and the matric results are slightly better. But the elites, whether they are, you know, the really very well-off elites or the sort of moderately well-off elites, will be looking for these alternatives. So I think the opportunity is just about endless. The question really is, you know, acknowledging that, what ought you to pay for this particular
and in your right mind,
opportunity?
could you, with a PE of 256 Rand, could you possibly buy this stock at the moment?
Seems a bit pricey, I have to confess. I do
just a little on the pricey side.
Yeah, look, I mean, I buy the argument that it's going to grow into this PE, and certainly given the kind of context we've talked about, the fact that people are willing, and if they have got any way at all of getting that money together, they are going to pay for a decent education for their kids. So yes, it is going to happen. I'm a little bit wary of the PE. It's a bit elevated for my taste.
How much do we put to Yanni Mouton and his ability to drive this?
Look, I think the PSG guys saw this coming. It was Cape-based. It was probably connected in some way. Chris van der Merwe is the guy who runs this thing. Santi Botha, ex-ABSA, ex-MTN, is the non-executive chairperson of the board. The rest of the PSG guys there, you can see all their names, the usual cronies. Yanni's son, Piet, is on the board of this one. So I think they'll continue to nurture it. They've obviously followed their rights whenever they had these rights issues, so they've retained their 50+% stake. I would expect them, though, to sell down a little bit in time. The same thing that happened with Capitec, because you go to a certain scale and then you start to become expensive to follow your rights, and it's more appropriate that it gets more widely held by institutions. So I would think that would dilute a little bit, but I think it's well on its way. It's got good people in the helm. They just maybe need to be careful, go too fast.
This is something you could imagine the GEPF down the line taking a significant stake in, because it would be part of their broader mandate.
You would like to think so, absolutely. And if they can get political dogma out of their minds, then definitely, I think that would definitely come into their thinking.
Hot or not on Curro?
Just a bit too expensive. I love the company. I think it's extremely well run, but I can't see it being hot at these kind of levels.
Hot or not, Paul?
I'm prepared to give it the hot. I think,
Why am I surprised at a 256
the model,
PE?
the earnings, they'll become apparent in due course. Hot on this one.